I think that it is such a different field now. When I was starting
Mm.
my private practice, I had a web presence that was very strong. My website did bring all of the clients in the beginning. And then I grew the practice when I had an in-person coaching practice in Austin, grew the practice so that about 50% was word of mouth and referral. And then when I left that community and when the field changed, when I went online and I started splitting time and so forth, that's when it became more difficult. I think it's now a field that is very competitive and consumers don't really know where to go to find coaches. But I think it's still possible. I think word of mouth is the strongest and people do bring their friends and families and that kind of thing.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets, the podcast where we talk with successful career coaches on how they built their success and the hard lessons they learned along the way. My name is Davis Nguyen, and I'm the founder of Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, and even $100,000 weeks. Before Purple Circle, I've grown several 7- and 8-figure career coaching businesses myself, and have been a consultant at 2 career coaching businesses that are doing over $100 million each. Whether you're an established coach or building your practice for the first time, you'll discover the secrets to elevating your coaching business.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets podcast. I'm Kevin, and today we are joined by Dr. Lisa Leit. She is the founder of Happy Whole Human, been a coach for 20 plus years. Lisa, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kevin. Nice to be here.
Yeah, okay, so one of the funny things that we are talking about prior to the podcast was that you have 20 plus years of experience, but you definitely don't look like it at all. And so I want to go back to the beginning, the lore, the origin story. Like, what made you want to become a coach and more importantly, start a business out of it?
Yeah, I have always been fascinated by what kind of like philosophy and what makes life worth living and what are relationships about. And so I've always been really curious. And so I think, and my parents were entrepreneurs. So I think that I just from an early age was inclined to be focused on relationships and health. And then just business owner just came naturally in my blood.
I see. And I guess like everybody in the coaching industry, they talk about like target audience, deal client profiles and stuff. How did you kind of decide who you wanted to help and what problems you wanted to help them through, I guess?
Back in the day when I first started my practice, I actually was a divorce mediator.
What?
When I first hung up a shingle in Austin, Texas, I was a divorce mediator.
For the audience, can you run through what a divorce mediator does?
Yes. So I was meeting with people who were contemplating or kind of going down the road getting a divorce and helping them come to agreements or not, and seeing what was possible and then writing them up and helping them get their divorce.
Oh, wow. I know this is a career coaching podcast, but did you notice any themes during that, like talking to these couples and whatnot?
At first, it was, I realized it's such a tough time in life and it brings out, and it was also 2008. So there were so many things going on in the economy. So many couples were under so much stress that a lot of people had lost their jobs and so forth. So I was in the front lines really, and people were really having a hard time, and it was bringing out the worst in them. And I was just starting my practice. So I quickly shifted gears into, I still offered mediation, but I had screening processes. And I really preferred to work as a coach with individuals first. And so that's really kind of, I was like, why not work on helping people figure things out through a different lens than the divorce piece? So anyway, I still did help some people navigate divorce, but I also helped so many people come back together and figure things out, or even after divorce, co-parent together or manage their businesses together. And that's really where I started to get into the career coaching.
And how about these days? I'm sure it's evolved over the last 20 years, but like who do you kind of help these days, I guess right now?
A lot of employees of companies, leadership coaching and executives, C-suite. So I do mostly, at this point in my career, I do mostly executive leadership coaching just because of how long I've been doing it and the different price points. But I teach and train coaches to work as holistic wellness coaches and career coaches and executive leadership coaches.
So executive leadership. Okay, got it. And also like, okay, so if these are the type of people you're helping, let's talk about the marketing for a second. How do people typically find you, Lisa? Like what kind of marketing are you doing right now for your business?
Yeah, It's a lot through the different directories. So the coaching directories, the ICF, International Coaching Federation. Numi is an amazing platform that has brought clients and interest. Also, a lot of coaches find me. I also still have clients from Austin. And so I work with different platforms as well, Coach Hub, and I work with Speaks, and I do supervision with coaches in addition to the executive coaching. So I do a lot of different things.
I see. Yeah, I think what's really interesting is the platforms you're using. I think you're the first one to really talk about that a lot. I think most people usually either say referrals or they do a lot of content marketing and all that too. I'm curious throughout your experience, are there any like types of marketing that you kind of experimented with over the years as well?
Yes, of course. I've experimented with everything. And so we've done a lot of different kinds of things. We've definitely had blogs and campaigns and initiatives and different things through the years. But that has been, we've done things on social media and so.
And as you reflect on your years and your journey, I guess what are some of the challenges you kind of ran into when it came to finding clients? Did you run into any challenges?
Yeah, I think that it is such a different field now. When I was starting my private practice, I had a web presence that was very strong. My website did bring all of the clients in the beginning. And then I grew the practice when I had an in-person coaching practice in Austin, grew the practice so that about 50% was word of mouth and referral. And then when I left that community and when the field changed, when I went online and I started splitting time and so forth, that's when it became more difficult. I think it's now a field that is very competitive and consumers don't really know where to go to find coaches, but I think it's still possible. I think word of mouth is the strongest and people do bring their friends and families and that kind of thing.
You mentioned you used to have a physical practice, right? I'm so curious. Like, I don't know the time frame of this, but like, was there a reason why you chose having a physical practice versus like virtual online one back in the day?
Yeah, it was just the times. I think that was what people expected. And so, that was people expected to be able to go and see someone in an office at that time. That was before things were as frequently online.
Oh, wow. That's so interesting. It almost feels like the expectation for like therapists back in the day, right? Like when people got therapy, they would like literally go to an office. These days it's all virtual, but interesting. Okay, so these leaders, these executives, they're finding out about you through one way or another. Let's talk about business for a second. Like one of the things I just love about the podcast world is like I get to learn about the different business models and see what's working for some coaches at different stages, right? Some people do one-on-one, some people do group coaching, some people do organizational like team building and all that. But if you're comfortable sharing, I would love to kind of hear like your different offerings that you have with your practice.
Sure. So I do team coaching and I do group coaching as well. And I have, of course, the individual practice. I do work with leaders and business owners and a lot of entrepreneurs and like YPO, EO, kind of a lot of founders in my private practice and
YPO, Young Professional Organization.
young presidents.
Oh, president, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. And so, yeah, I think that my offers are really depends on what people are looking for. There are a lot of different things, but I feel like now I'm offering packages for the most part and also coach education and supervision. So I do a lot of mentoring and supervision and training of coaches as well.
Oh, that's really interesting. I guess how did you get into more the supervision aspect of your practice?
That has been because of team coaching. So as a team coach, the the International Coaching Federation now requires team coaches to get coaching supervision. And because I teach and train team coaches, I had to become a supervisor and I'm in Europe now. And so that's huge in Europe. It's really wonderful. I'm learning so much about the ethical imperative really to take the time to reflect on ourselves and how we are showing up for our practice as coaches and really have support with that from other supervisors. So that's really a beautiful shift.
That's awesome. Sounds like you're doing quite a bit though. Like coaching can be very intimate. I can imagine like supervising people can probably take up a lot of time as well. And so how do you manage your current client capacity and all that? Like how do you manage all these different projects?
Well, it is a go time for me because we're also building an app that is AI powered as an AI coach and lots of assessments and all kinds of do it yourself components for clients. So that is something that's taking a lot of time. I'm really excited about that project. So I am in a work phase right now, but the flow, I'm in Spain, so it's really lovely. It's a wonderful lifestyle and I'm enjoying myself and spending a lot of time outdoors as well. So all is well. I do work hard.
Let's talk about like the AI stuff because that seems really interesting. I've heard a few people talk about creating AI offers or solutions and all that. I guess what led you to that? What made you want to start that initiative?
Well, when I really evolved my private practice to have a program that I call Happy Whole Human, and then an
Mhm.
institute to train coaches in that, to be facilitators of that holistic wellness program, we beta tested that with Whole Foods Market. It was meant to be
Oh.
a business solution. And so I always, since the very beginning, saw something much more sophisticated than technologically possible at that time. And so when AI really became available recently, I got so excited because it gives me the potential to help people in such an interactive way that wasn't possible before. So I'm so excited to support coaches, individuals, teams, couples in a totally intelligent way, even between
Mm.
sessions. So incredible and holistic.
Yeah, I love that. And currently in your business, are you kind of solo right now, or do you have a team at all?
Yeah, I have a co-founder, and I also have a strong community in the Happy Human coaches, and we actually are forming a collective, so they're working together to market the app and market our practices together, which is incredible.
How exciting. I like your advice on something. I think one of the things that a lot of coaches listening to this struggle with, that I've noticed, they struggle with like pricing and pricing
Mhm.
strategies. It seems like kind of a taboo subject sometimes. Of
Yeah.
course, you don't have to give any hard numbers, but I guess how do you think about pricing strategies, or how do you structure your pricing? Because I know some coaches, they think about, they usually start hourly, but then they grow to hate it sometimes. And then
Mhm.
they move to project based, value based, retainers. So I guess what kind of pricing models have you kind of gravitated to over the years?
Yeah, really enjoyed very much working as an in-person practitioner in Austin and charging the rates, the same rates as high-end therapists. Although I was working as a coach, I was not working as a therapist, but just having that business model made sense to people, self-pay, and that made sense to me too. So when I did go into the business coaching private practice, that was tough because to charge, to double rates and beyond, like $300 plus an hour, does become a different price point for individuals who are self-paying. So even people that are super, super wealthy, they may feel like it's a luxury instead of something that like maintenance and self-care kind of thing. So that's where an investment. So I feel like there's something I would give advice to coaches or people asking. I would say, think in terms of the lifetime value of a client is what I've learned. And think and just partner with your clients to think about. I'm not trying to say not to charge what you deserve and but just to partner with your clients to figure out a price point that's going to feel like a great value to them and still feel good to you. Find that sweet spot is what I would say. And don't worry about what anyone thinks about it.
This is really interesting. This, I don't typically ask this, but are there certain questions that you typically love asking, your like go-to questions where you kind of uncover that with the client, I guess?
You mean in terms of coming to that with them?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's more like what's their scope? What are they thinking in terms of how it could work for them, in terms of what their goals are, their time frame, the urgency, their budget, all of that. So just asking some questions like that, and then explaining that at this point in my career as an executive coach, the price point is very high, and then asking if they can get sponsorship from their company or if that's something that they are going to pay for themselves, and then saying that I'm happy to work with them and find a price point that works. So that's really where I tend to go with it. But
I
it's
see.
delicate. It is. It's not an easy thing to find the perfect fit, or I can't tell anyone else what to do basically. It's really just finding that partnership with the client is what I would recommend.
Yeah. You did bring up a very interesting point where I think sometimes like some people think it's like an optional or not like really a necessary thing. Whereas other people who are very growth like oriented, they see it as an absolute necessity.
Mm.
And yeah, I think you bring up a really good point there, by the way. So yeah.
And I've had people work with me, almost 20 years and send their family members, and, anytime they need something, come back. And those people I do offer legacy pricing to. And it's just really important, I think, to nurture those long-term clients and relationships and find things that work for everybody and feel great about it.
Yeah, I do want to ask. We were talking about AI, and this new project you're working on.
Mhm.
I'm curious about the future goals. And I guess something I'm thinking about is like you've been in the business for 20 plus years. And so where do you kind of want this coaching business to take you in the next chapter or the next season of your life? Do you have any secret dreams, big ambitions? We'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, Happy Whole Human, this program is based on my original research at UT Austin on narcissism, codependence, and overcoming that through mindfulness to find ways forward and improve results-oriented collaboration. So I'm so passionate about it. I've worked so hard to have a product that with through this app and the different offerings and the coach training. So I'm just excited for it to grow beyond me and scale way beyond me and live way beyond me and do whatever it's going to do. I'm really excited to see what happens in the next 5 years with just what the coaches that I'm training do with it and how they add to it with their own content and how it evolves and how, at some point, of course, it might be acquired and that would be interesting to see what happens with that. And I feel like I've really put so much into it of quality that I'm just thrilled to see where it goes from here.
As you're thinking about this, I think the words you use, growing beyond you. I guess, are there any like challenges that you're kind of noticing in the business right now? Maybe some of the challenges that people might not be able to see on the outside looking in. I'm kind of curious about that.
Yeah, I have this visionary aspect. So it's like seeing the possibility of something that didn't even make sense with the technology wasn't there for it. Having a vision of what we are now creating 13 years ago and having there be, interest from a Fortune 50 company and beta testing with them, but then having Amazon acquire them and that not going anywhere, bootstrapping. There's been a patience piece and a bootstrapping piece that has been really challenging and just kind of, it's been humbling. I don't need it to be an overnight success. It is ongoing, evergreen, and it's building and it's growing. It's only getting better over time and it works. And so now I think the world is ready to talk in terms of holistic wellness, in terms of whole systems. They're ready to talk about everything. I've been talking about this for a long, long time, and they're embracing technology now. So it's like the time is now, but the hard thing has been syncing up the time. It's like hurry up and wait. And in the meantime, I had kind of gone beyond the private practice model. So there's been a long time in between when things didn't necessarily make sense, but they are about to make sense because the world has changed and is changing. And it's a beautiful thing.
It's really interesting because I think we can like see the shifts in society and stuff. Just like look at tangential industries, right? Like for example, coaching is obviously not therapy, right? But the demand for therapists has increased significantly, and there's a lot of movement. It feels like people are more interested in topics like mindfulness, whereas like 10 years ago, no one really talked about it or really cared about these things. But there's something going on where people are actually feeling the importance of these topics that were ignored so many years ago too. So I think you're onto something there.
Yeah, and ICF just published, it said 85% of coaches are asked to discuss mental health concerns, not in a way of diagnosing and treating, but just working through things with them. Not out of the realm of ethical coaching, but it is really important to have that awareness.
Well, Lisa, we're at the point of our podcast where I want to play some games with you if you're open to it. Let's do it. Okay, the first segment is about business investments. As you know, a lot of coaches, they invest into their own coaching, marketing, team members, masterminds, a lot of different things, right? And so I'm going to prompt you 4 questions. I learned this through a master storyteller who won like the Moth like storytelling contest or whatever, Matthew Dix. But yeah, it's going to prompt some questions, and I'm going to prompt like a small phrase, and you just tell me the first thing that comes to mind. If there's a story that is associated with it, we'd love to hear it as well. Okay?
Okay.
All right. First business investment you remember.
What's coming to mind is Girl Scout cookies. Hilarious.
Dude, tell it.
I don't even remember. It's okay. But I did have a business. This is funny. I had a business called Cafe Infinito. It was before The Amazing Race, that show. The idea was an interactive TV show that was like the audience could interact with these people competing in this race around the world. And it was kind of like really interactive with technology, and it involved convergence. And it was year 2000, which was a long, long time ago. And then I did go kind of far with that, but it didn't, we pitched to Oprah and stuff. But anyway, it didn't take, but we were working with some interesting people. It was fun.
It's kind of crazy because a lot of that stuff is happening like with a lot of the live streamers, the Twitch streamers, or like, yeah, it's really, really interesting. It seems like I noticed this pattern of like you seeing things, but it's just like, damn, it's so freaking wrong time.
Yeah, so early. At the fringe of the fringe. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. Last business investment you made.
Oh, I mean, in Happy Whole Human, in the app. So we're currently building this app.
I see. Did you hire developers or did you I'm kind of curious about some of the investments you made with the app.
Yeah, we have an amazing team. We actually have two teams, and my co-founder is former rocket scientist, and he is an encryption specialist. So he is working on the encryption aspect with AI to make sure it's super confidential and safe. So that's really exciting.
You know what? I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that at all, like the confidentiality type of stuff associated with that app. And it makes a lot of sense. It's kind of tangentially, it reminds me of healthcare and the HIPAA laws and stuff like that, and how you don't want things leaking out. So it makes sense for something like coaching too. Interesting. Okay. Next question. Best business investment you made?
I do believe Happy Whole Human is the best investment because it is something that I really believe in and think it has helped so many people and it will continue to do so. So I think that's the best one. Also, in golden investment in Spain. So my husband and I got a golden visa in Spain. So that was an amazing thing to basically residency by investment. That happened in December.
What was the main driver for you to move to Spain?
We really were just drawn to the culture and the fact that it really is an inclusive place. It's a place that is really healthy, that fosters health. People are really excited working together. It's kind of like the melting pot is happening here right now, and a lot of energy, and it's a beautiful natural place. And so, yeah, it was just the right time. We really found Spain and it found us at the right time. It was incredible.
Kind of curious too. It might have not affected your business at all, but I think about environments a lot. And so, from your perspective, how do you feel like living in Spain has affected your business, if it has at all?
It really has, because there's more of a communal consciousness here. People care so much about community and relationships. And so as a result, I have really shifted into a more collaborative approach to coaching and a less American approach to everything. So I feel like I just started this coach owner collective for students who want to learn from the Happy Human Institute to have ownership shares, equity shares in the company and Happy Human Institute, and do rev shares with us and build content with us to build with us. And I'm so excited. The vibe has changed. The dynamic has changed into vibrant community instead of more competitive and now everyone having to be out for themselves. So it really, and I think that's also happening in culture in general, but being in Spain has really gotten me there faster. I think it's really, I learn every day, all the time, from the way people work together and care about each other here. It's incredible. Healthcare is very affordable. Private healthcare, education's very affordable here. It's a different world. Food, everything. Yeah.
I just had to ask. I'm so curious about Barcelona and all that as well. Okay, last question. Worst business investment that you made that you kind of wish you got your money back from?
Okay. When we first were looking at real estate in Spain, we did put a deposit down on an apartment in a neighborhood that then my husband hadn't seen it and I hadn't seen it. I'd been in the neighborhood, but I hadn't seen the particular apartment. So when we saw it, he did not like it at all. And I mean, I agree, but we did lose some money there. That was part of the learning curve of the Spain situation.
As you're sharing these stories, by the way, and you're reflecting on these memories, I guess how has your decision-making process and what to invest in changed over the years?
I think that I am really wanting to build things with people now. I don't think I was thinking in terms of building with people. That's part of my own maturing, I think. And I've always wanted to do that in theory, but now I actually am realizing that that is what it takes. It takes that. You have to have really strong partners, and whether they're clients and colleagues, I mean, you have to work with people to go to those things.
It seems like your perspective on collaboration has changed quite a bit.
It has, yeah.
Cool. Another game I want to play with you. A lot of coaches, most business owners get some sort of advice throughout their career. And since you've been a coach for 20 plus years, I'm kind of curious about some of the advice that you've gotten. So I want to ask, this is the first time I've ever played this game with anyone on the podcast, and I actually came up with it just an hour ago. What is the most underrated, overrated piece of business advice that you've gotten?
Keep it simple, stupid.
Is that underrated or overrated?
No, I think it's underrated because like it's such a good one. Such a good one is what I would say.
Like, I'm so curious. What makes you have that perspective?
I think that I tend to go the extra mile in everything. And I think that just the idea of boiling it down to essence is not easy for me, but it's so powerful to do that. And just to remember what it's all about. So, for example, the Happy Whole Human brand promise is safety. It's a safe space for people to be who they really are and explore and evolve. And so, AI, if for us to even go there, we have to have a safe way to do it. So, that's the kind of thing. Just keep it simple. Yes, of course, it would be amazing to have all these capabilities, but if we deviate from our most simple essence, we're veering away from what's helpful.
Most overrated piece of advice.
The whole thing about like charge the highest rates you possibly can per hour. I think that was really terrible advice. I think it's really important to know your worth, but I really think that has alienated me from my core client base in some ways. And I feel like I now partner with people. That's it. I really have learned. So that's something that I've learned over time.
Yeah, it seems like you brought up this like core concept of partnering with people.
Mhm.
I'm kind of curious, like, who are the people that you feel like you're going to partner up with in the next like chapter of your life or your business?
Yeah, I'm already doing it with colleagues, with really formidably bright, creative, innovative other coaches with wonderful complementary ideas of how we can help people and help businesses, help people, and provide them with the tools that they need to be agile in this changing world and approach things with curiosity and confidence and compassion. So I'm excited to build with people who are also well established in this field or
Okay.
capable of getting there.
Okay, this is the hardest question of them all. Ready? How can people find you and connect with you, Lisa?
Yeah, online. I'm on LinkedIn, and also happywholehuman.com is the best website for me, or drlisaleit.com is my personal private practice website. And I would love to talk with people about what we're up to and how we can help.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, Lisa, it was really interesting with this podcast because I wrote down some notes, but I can't read it. Anyways, I'm going to go from memory. I really like your holistic approach, like everything from talking about your move to Barcelona to like how the industry has changed over the years. Like you're talking about how you used to have physical practice and moved into an online practice, even to the vision of like AI. I think personally, like I feel like AI is such a game changer. And one of the hardest parts about coaching is actually the accessibility, in my opinion, right? Like either people can't afford it or there's an ego thing. There's something different. I was talking about it with another podcast. There's something very, very different when you kind of get feedback or something, maybe feedback like from something that is not human, that disarms the ego sometimes. So I thought that was really, really interesting. But yeah, I'm actually really excited to see where your business, Happy Whole Human, like looks like in 5 years and all that further down the line. So I just want to thank you just for all your stories, your insights. I wish you had a story for that Girl Scout cookie investment, but we'll save it for another day.
Next time, yes.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lisa.
Thank you, Kevin. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
That's it for this episode of Career Coaching Secrets. If you enjoyed this conversation, you can subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening to this episode to catch future episodes. This podcast was brought to you by Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, or even $100,000 weeks, all without burning out and making sure that you're making the impact and having the life that you want. To learn more about our community and how we can help you, visit joinpurplecircle.com.